The course is very simple. R. That's the title of the course. R, isn't it? And before we begin learning something, it's important for us to know what it is, isn't it? So in my slide, the first thing I ask is, what is R?
Please, let's have one class. The class has already started, please.
The class has started. It is the first thing we should learn is to know what R is in the first place before we start playing around with it. So it's a programming language like many others. And for you to use it, you need two softwares at the minimum. One is the R software that contains the R programming language. And then we have another software called R Studio. So we need two softwares. One is R and one is R Studio. So let's start with the first software, which is R. It is the software that contains the programming language together with the software that interprets it. In computer science, there's what we call interpreter. And the meaning is no distant from the real meaning of interpreter, someone that translates something, isn't it? We know these are computers, are electronic devices, isn't it? If you carry hammer and you break your computer, inside you will not see any human being or any algeny doing anything. All you see is what? Are some electronic devices, transistors, diodes, etc., isn't it? ICs. So any electronic device by design only understands what we call binary. The electronic device, like a computer, understands binary. We all know binary. They are numbers containing zeros and ones, isn't it? And anything that you see a computer doing, whether you are playing a game, watching a movie or anything, it's those electronic devices those electronic devices see those things that you're doing at the periphery as zeros and ones. So also, if we want to program a computer, we need a software that can be able to translate whatever we write in what we call high-level language into those zeros and ones that the computer understands. So that's what we call the interpreter. For example, if I want the computer to print your name, I write print Yusuf. That print is a high-level language. There should be a software that will understand what print means, and then it translates that to the computer. The computer understands what that means, and then it renders that as the output. So that's what this software is all about, this R software. It contains the programming language together with the interpreter. I've explained what the interpreter is. Wait, just mute on.
Who is the admin?
Okay, off your speaker, go away. Off speaker. Speaker computer.
It's a person that is making noise inside. Who is the admin? I didn't know the admin then. You should keep it.
Computer means speaker. Okay.
Continue to look for you first.
Please, I want us to be on the same page. I said for us to analyze data using R, at least for this class, we need two softwares. One is R and one is R Studio. And I've just explained what the role of R. If you have any question, please ask me on R first. Good. The second software is a software called R Studio. It's a popular software that is used to write R scripts. It's not as if you cannot write scripts using the legacy R software, but the R Studio by far has become the most popular software for scripting the R code so that you can analyze your data.
Sorry, can I take you back?
Yes, sir.
We talk about binary, 0, 1, 0 to 1. How is it related to R?
Yeah, in the R is a software, and in the software it contains two modules. One is the programming language. Programming language is a language. You can also design one if you like we have Python, etc. But there should be a software. The computer is just a device. It came without R, isn't it? I installed R, isn't it? There should be a software that the computer only understands binary, zeros and ones. This may be advanced. It's a computing terminology, but I believe you understand. The computer has a language that it understands. That's binary, zeros and ones. But then we have a software that does something. We should have an intermediary software that can be able to translate whatever the programming language writes into what the computer understands. That's the interpreter, isn't it? And the interpreter is embedded in the R software. It's clear. Second is R Studio. R Studio is a secondary software that is used to write R scripts. It's like if you buy your phone, it comes with default wallpaper, etc., isn't it? But if I should sample our wallpapers in our phones now, I want to agree that we're all using secondary wallpaper. We're not happy with the traditional one. Maybe it has basic features. That's also the role of the R Studio somewhat. It makes writing R codes faster and easier. Is it clear? Whenever you write programming languages, there's what we call syntax. The syntax are the rules in which you must, communicate with the programming language. For example, if you have a function, you have to open it and close it, isn't it? If you are using the traditional R, if you write print, for example, if you open it and if you refuse to close it, if you run your code, it will give you error. But one rule of these secondary softwares like R Studio is that whenever you call a very popular command and you, let's say, open the bracket, it knows that for the code to run, you have to close the bracket. So it will close the bracket for you automatically. Do you understand? That's somewhat the role of it. Eases your work and makes your life easier.
Doctor, are they free?
Sorry?
Are they free?
Yeah. One happy thing about R is that it is free of charge. You don't need any license to use R. Unlike other softwares that, like, for example, MATLAB is proprietary. You have to pay for the license for you to use it. That's also one good thing about Python too. It's also free and has rich community.
So now one can go and download R and R Studio now.
Free of charge, yes. I'll take us through the installation process. You can get it online if you have internet, but I have a pre-installed one, a pre-downloaded one already I can share with.
Thank you.
Okay. So R is amongst the most extensively employed statistical programming language and is the foremost preference of data experts and analysts. And throughout this course, we shall gain knowledge of the fundamental principles of R. We will learn how to create programs that store and manipulate data. We will also learn how to perform data analysis tasks using various data sets. We will also learn how to visualize the results using graphs and charts. And I think this is somewhat a summary of what data analysts do, isn't it? You have a data in an unstructured format, either in Excel or CSV or whatever format. The first thing for you is to bring that data into your R environment, and then you perform whatever analysis you want to perform on the data. If you are happy, you will now perform some analysis with the aid of charts and graphs, isn't it? Because if you are the data analyst of your company and you're given, or you're employed by JAM, for example, you're the IT guy in JAM, and you are asked to give a report on the success rate of JAM for 2024. You will not begin showing them the raw data. They may not understand, isn't it? Where you have directors and CEOs, isn't it? Maybe you just give a summary of what you have found, and then with the aid of charts, bar charts, histograms, pie charts, you convey your message, isn't it? We'll also learn how to do that in this class, inshallah. Just try to give what R is and what it's not for. So it's a programming language. You can use it as a programming language. It's also a statistical package. You can use it for statistical analysis. It's an interpreter. I've explained that. It's also open source, like you mentioned. It's free of charge. You don't need to, Yusuf, no payment for. Yeah. It is not a database. It's not a collection of black boxes. It's not a spreadsheet software package, and it's not commercially supported, isn't it? So for you to use R, like I said, you need two softwares, R and RStudio. Where do you get them from? You get them online. And the website to get those softwares are, number one, you go to cran.rproject.org. Maybe if I can, can I share my entire screen? So if you actually don't need, where the internet is smart now. You don't need to go and copy the URL and begin. Once you go to your Google and type R and download, it will take you to anyone, maybe this or this. This is the one I showed you, huh? The cran.r project, isn't it? So once you come here, so you will see several R packages for you to download, isn't it? You can just come here and say download R. But I've already downloaded it, so I don't need to download again. And for the RStudio, if you also come here, like I said, you don't need to bother yourself cramming the URL. Just go to your browser, anyone, and type RStudio download. Okay? And it will bring you to this particular website. So you just open it, and then depending on the type of computer you use, if you use Windows or use a Mac, there are several versions for every computer, isn't it? So you can simply download this RStudio for Windows. If you have internet, please, you can just go online and download them. Yeah. And if you don't, I can share mine with you.
I just share.
Do you have flash drive?
Okay.
It's okay. So the organizers also asked me to introduce Python. I will take you through the same procedure like we did now, so that we can all be, so that those for Python will also be doing something, isn't it? So Python is also an interpreted language. It has an interpreter. But before I do that, let me just install the R. Okay. So which one do you install first, R or RStudio? R. It's just commonsensical, isn't it? That you install R before RStudio, because RStudio is just a follower, isn't it? Without Arc Studio, without R, there will be no Arc Studio. Yes, I'm gonna fold them.
Okay, creating for them.
Yeah, come in. It's okay, this it will take some time.
Okay.
So we install R first, isn't it? If you install R, this is the R software, isn't it? You just double click like any other software. Just double click and click yes, and then it will pop up the installation process. If you speak English, you use English. If you prefer another language, there are others, isn't it? Should we install in Chinese? Okay. Huh? So let's install in English, isn't it? So you read all the information and just say next. But who has ever read this documentation when installing software? Eh? Yeah. So you just install next, isn't it? You can just say next, 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 and then it so it says completing the R for Windows wizard has finished. So you can just say finish, isn't it? So you have successfully installed R, isn't it? You know you can still use R like this without R Studio. If you type R, where is it in the text? Yeah, here's it. You can you see it there? Yeah, you can just start it, and then this is the default interface for R, isn't it? So what we are saying is that doing data analysis on this interface is not friendly and intuitive, isn't it? That's why we need a more sophisticated environment that will make our analysis better, isn't it? And that's why we need, for example, I can come here and say print, let's see, okay. I just printed my name on R, isn't it? I can do a 67 plus 90, for example, and it gave me the answer, isn't it? So I can do my R analysis here, but what I'm saying is that the interface is not so friendly. That's why we want to install a more sophisticated environment that makes our life easier, isn't it? So let's go ahead and install R Studio. So this is go. R Studio. The same process. Just keep on hitting next till it finishes. I hope you were following. For those that have downloaded, you can just watching me. Have you downloaded?
Major thing in cooperative.
Okay. Finish. Window, I forgot to put it in the desktop, isn't it? So if you want to call the Arc Studio, just come here and type R, and then you see, okay, Arc Studio. Can you see it here? Okay, go. Okay. You just hit it. Just hit enter, and it will open the Arc Studio environment, and that's where so this is just the first. It will not show that again, just for the first time. Where should I go now? This abang kawan apa? Ya cini, kamu ya cini. Kamu my antivirus has eaten your. What could I explain? Do what?
Do not sign up.
No. Leave our sensitive.